CBS Sports HQ presented by NerdWallet. NerdWallet, turn to the nerds. And we are about to turn to our two football nerds in just a second. Pete Prisco and Brady Quinn standing by. I'm Chris Hassel. We're going to pick every game against the spread. We're down to only 4 games in the NFL this week in the divisional round. Let's start with Saturday's games. Pete's Bengals, 3.5-point road dogs at Tennessee, the number 1 seed, playing in the postseason for the first time, as are the Packers. Both those teams got the first-round byes last week. Packers hosting the 49ers. That is on Saturday night. So, let's get the fellas in here. Pete Prisco and Brady Quinn. And are we keeping the regular season win-loss totals into the postseason?
We have at this point, but no ground was made up last week. I believe we were both 2-4.
We had bad weeks.
Bad weeks.
Bad weeks, both of us.
Yeah. So for the season, Pete Prisco has a 3-game lead on Brady, and we have 4 games today. So still an opportunity to make that up.
Can I just tell you my strategy right now?
Pick opposite of
down.
Pete?
Well, I'm putting all the chips are in.
Oh.
I'm going all in this week. It's going to be interesting to see how we see these games because it's not even like I'm just picking opposite to pick opposite. I think there's a few games you could be torn about in regards to the spreads. It's tough picks. It was obviously tough for us last week, but I'm going all in. I was made aware of what your picks were before I got here, so I like how this could shake out.
I saw something where this is one of the 4 games, the spreads, the total of the spreads is one of the smallest we've had in this divisional round. And
should be great matchups.
Yeah.
Not a single double-digit spread, not a single two-score
last week
spread.
was awful, so let's hope.
It was 4 of the 6 games were really
terrible.
bad. But this week, most of the spreads are somewhere between 2 and 4 points. There is one game where the spread is 6. Let's start with the first game of the weekend. It's Saturday afternoon on CBS. It's the Bengals and Titans. Pete Prisco has been banging that Bengal drum for years now after they drafted Joe Burrow. So this is your opportunity to pick the Bengals to go to the AFC Championship game.
Oh, I would love to, but I'm not going to.
Oh, come on, Pete.
Titans.
Wow.
Yeah, I just think there's a real problem here, and it's whether they can block that defensive line of the Titans. The Titans have 3 guys with 8 sacks. They're the only team in the league, at least 8 sacks. The only team in the league with that. And I think there's problems on the offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals. They played well last week, but Isaiah Prince at right tackle, almost the spinning top of the week this week, had a real rough go of it last week against Max Crosby, and I think it's going to be a problem on that offensive line for Joe Burrow. On the other side, Larry Ogunjobi being out is big for the Bengals. Their run defense isn't great to begin with, and this is a team we know that wants to run the ball.
Not that bad either,
with Derrick Henry getting back in there, I think they're going to pound the football. And yes, I am picking against Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm picking the Tennessee Titans.
And not only to win, but to cover the 3.5.
You're just a walking contradiction now.
I'm not a contradiction.
Let me get back
I think
to
it's
this,
a hedge.
I want to bring up a point that you made about the defensive line and 3 different players having 8 sacks or more. Go back and comb through where those sacks came against who, right? You look at that division, Jacksonville, Houston,
The Rams.
The Colts. Well, the Colts were banged up, though, for a period of time. So I'm just saying when you're looking at the teams that they played where they got some of those sacks and they were to make hay, some of those came versus their lesser opponents. So I understand what you're saying. I do think the Bengals' offensive line, though, is much improved from where it was a year ago. They've played well this season. Give them some credit. It will be a tough matchup for them. I think there's a number of things at play here, though. The biggest question you have to answer is Derrick Henry going to come back and be able to be exactly what we saw the last time he was out there in the field, which was a legitimate MVP candidate? I have a hard time believing, after all that time off, it's a Jones fracture for a guy that big, that explosive, to be able to be close to 100%. It just doesn't seem possible to me.
Do you think he needs to be 100% to beat the Bengals in this game?
I think so, too, because here's the game plan every time you play a runner like Derrick Henry. They'll try to set the edges and get him to run and stop his feet. And they take away a run and they put it on this guy. They put it on Ryan Tannehill to beat you throwing the football. Now, he finished the season strong. Last time out, played great. Up until that point, though, without Derrick Henry, wasn't the case. I think my concern for this game is if this becomes a track meet and you're going to try to go blow for blow with Joe Burrow and that explosive Cincinnati Bengals offense, that's not a formula for the Tennessee Titans to win. So I'm calling it right now. I'm not even saying that the Bengals cover the 3.5 because I am taking the 3.5 points. They outright win and they go to the AFC Championship game.
Wow. See, then my pick might be coming true then.
I told you this before the
See,
playoffs
he's hedging.
started. They have the easiest, clearest
I can't lose.
It wouldn't be the first time they've ever won a road playoff game in Bengals history. So they
That's
are
amazing.
up against history.
0-7 all time on the road in the playoffs.
You talk about the Titans offense, and we haven't seen those guys together much this year. Any of them. I mean, how many games have they actually played together? All of them healthy. And I'm not talking about a guy start and go out.
I don't know. This is the time, though, you're throwing them out there and saying, well, it's all going to come together
Well,
at
not
this
just-
moment.
He's on the field. He'll be on the field.
Sure.
You have A.J. Brown, who's missed time and had COVID and everything else.
Julio
Jones. And now they're all back out there. So I think that'll make it easier. I just think the Cincinnati not having Larry Ogunjobi will hurt them.
Sure.
Their run defense. It will hurt their run defense. And I think they're going to be able to control the clock and hit some shots down the field. I think the Bengals will score. I just think that they're going to see Tennessee score as well.
This game, to me, is all about how it starts. If Tennessee gets off to a good start, Derrick Henry's running the football well, they're controlling the clock, controlling the game, I think that plays in the hands of Tennessee. They're going to end up winning this game. I don't even know still that they'll cover the 3.5. These two teams are pretty evenly divided, in my opinion. If Cincinnati gets off to a hot start, they continue to ride the momentum of this young group that doesn't know any better at this point. I think that's where you got to worry if you're a Tennessee Titans fan, because I don't know that they want to be able to play from behind. I don't know if they want to put Ryan Tannehill in that position, especially with this Bengals defensive front has been rushing the passer. They've really improved the second half of the season.
Hendrickson's health is another issue here. I mean, we got to keep an eye on him, too. He's got to be in the game.
For a guy that every single week just says, get the shot, let's go, we're trying to win a Super Bowl. It's crazy to me that you start to bring in some of this.
Well, I mean, I think they all should play, but we got to, whether they will or not, that's a whole nother issue. If it was me, I'm taking a shot and I'm on the field. I'm in the playoffs.
You can't take a shot for the concussion protocol, though, can you?
No.
I didn't think so.
You end up like him if you do.
I've had a concussion treated with Toradol, though. I have had that given me.
That's what your issue is, then. We finally got to the root of it.
Back in the day when you could beat that, there was no concussion protocol really back in Brady's day. But John Breach, by the way, who's a Bengals fan,
and
lives in Nashville.
Britney Spears fan as well.
Pick Six Pod contributor. He says there's going to be about 30 to 40% Bengals fans in the stands in Nashville.
I don't believe that.
It's not a far drive.
30. I don't think it'll be 30 to 40, but there's a lot of Titans fans. They've been around for a while now. They're passionate. I don't think it'll be that many.
All right, that's on CBS.
And by the way, Breach's father kicked for the Bengals, so
right.
That's why he's a Bengals fan.
Exactly. He'll have some kicker props for us, I'm sure. 4:30 Eastern Time on CBS and the Paramount Plus app this Saturday afternoon.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.